Dogecoin looks like it's getting a breakout to the upside right now. In my last video, I was watching this resistance. I'm on the 1 hour time frame right now, and on Dogecoin on Coinbase, and we had support. We were forming this triangle pattern, and we broke that going to the upside right now, or the last couple hours. So what I'm looking at now is I'm targeting from the top to the bottom of this triangle, and then we'll go ahead and drag this to the breakout. Let's see, we drag from the top to the bottom, then drag that to the breakout, and we're looking at a target of approximately 0.13928, which also lines up with this Fibonacci retracement level sitting at 0.13884 approximately, and that also lines up with this previous downtrend. We had resistance, giving me a downtrend like that. That spot lines up pretty much with that downtrend. So this is the area that I am targeting next. I'm curious if we're gonna come up here and get rejected, or if we're gonna push through. We could either push through or get rejected right there. In my opinion, I think this might be a good, I think this might be a plausible place though that we might get down and might have to retest this trend line right here. We have support. Let's go ahead and stretch this trend line out like this. So until we break this trend line going to the downside, then I think it's still possible that we move up and possibly break out. But I think once we do break this one, or if we do break this one, then we could start looking at the previous bottoms like we were looking at in yesterday's video. Let's go ahead and draw a horizontal line at pretty much the bottom, somewhere right there. So the bottom, and we'll change this one, we'll change the color to green. If you click on the line and then do style, you can choose the color. So we have a little green horizontal line right here at 1.11985. So let's say we break this going to the downside. If we get some momentum and start getting candles, I think this previous bottom would be the place that I would be looking at for a limit order next. But like I said, until we break this trend line going to the downside, it's possible that we continue to go up and possibly break through here. I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Let's go to the 5-minute time frame, and we could also see that we have a little uptrend right here, and let's go ahead and draw a trend line on the bottom of that. We'll use the bottom support, something like that, and if we break this trend line going to the downside, that also might be a signal that we might be coming back and testing this other one down here. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm looking at. It looks like, I don't know, in my opinion, it looks like a breakout, because let's go back to, I think I'm watching this on the 1 hour time frame mostly, because that's when it has, like, you could see the points. There's one right there, one right there, one right there, one right there, and one right there. We had a nice resistance line. And then also in yesterday's video, I was talking about how we had resistance. Let's go ahead and draw that trend line, because that's a completely different trend line. Let's do this. Right there to right there. So we had this downtrend like this. We broke that going to the upside though, and I talked about that in yesterday's video, how I thought that was a good signal right there, even us just going sideways through that trend line. And that's basically what we have to do on these other ones. Let's go ahead and zoom out. Let's go to the 4 hour time frame. We have this downtrend right here, resistance, giving us a downtrend. I think the closer we get to it, the easier it's going to break through it. At least we could go, even if we start going sideways through it and we don't just completely break through it, then it's still a good signal. That's usually when things might start reversing. And then same with the next one. So we have, and then if we go to the daily time frame, we have resistance and resistance. I think this is probably one of the bigger ones though. I think if we break this one, this might be a pop, as opposed to, I mean, it really depends on what happens, but if we go sideways through it, that's a good signal. But I think if we do break this one, we might get a pop. Yeah, that's just my opinion though. Because it's in the daily time frame and it's a bigger time frame and it's more significant kind of. I think this downtrend is also significant, but the other one's just stronger, or the other one's just bigger, and yeah. So the bigger time frames are more important. So yeah, back to the 4 hour. I think the 1 hour is the best right now, honestly. We have resistance, looking at this trend line in the bigger, like, bigger picture, and then we had this one right here that we're breaking to the upside right now. And like I said, I'm looking at that Fibonacci retracement level sitting at .13870. If you don't know how to do the Fibonacci retracements, if you're new to the channel, you have a run, and then when you start getting resistance and start going downside, or when you think it hit the top, then you can get the Fibonacci retracement tool, drag from the bottom to the top, and then that gives you some levels to watch. Usually these levels, they will act as support sometimes. Or, I mean, even this one right here, we didn't come down. No, that's not a good example. Right here, we came down, bounced on it. Right here, we bounced on it right here. This one in particular, I like the 50% level. That's a good one usually. Came down, bounced on it right there. Came down, bounced on it right there. This one didn't get a bounce, but it came down and hit it. The 38% level right there. So yeah, and then it bounces up, and then basically at the next, see how it like, okay, so we went to the 38% level, and then we went to pretty much the 23% level. We went above it, but that's pretty much where it, I don't know, got resistance. So it's kind of interesting the way these Fibonacci the Fibonacci sequence works with charts. It's actually, that's one of the most interesting things that I've learned about trading in general with these charts and stuff like that, is how much the Fibonacci stays close with it, or yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I think you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, we have our price target. Let's see what happens. Let's see if we keep this momentum going to the upside. Check out my last video right here if you want to, and if you like this video, hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.